Hi, welcome to Game Day Made Easy. My name is Howard, and today we're going to be taking a look at Millennia Tracks of Time by Karma Games. This is for 1 to 4 players, 14 and up, and according to the box takes about 30 minutes per player. I found it to be a little bit longer. Let's take a look at how it plays. Let's take a look at how to set up Millennia Tracks of Time. I've got the game set up for 2 players, but we'll go step by step. First, put the game board in the center of your table. The board is 2-sided for greater variety. Next, place a random book token on each of the book token squares on the tracks. Place the diplomacy cards at the bottom of the board. Draw 4 random research cards and place those at the bottom of the board with the research point cards next to them. Place the Joker tech cards next to the board and the prosperity cards at the top of the board. Keep coins nearby, as well as the trays with the tech cards and building and wonder cards. Finally, place unused draft tracker tokens on each of the 3rd and 4th player spaces to block them off. Each player chooses a color and takes all tokens of that color and sleep cards of that color, as well as a player aid. Place the scoring marker on space 0 of the victory point track. Place an octagonal track marker on space 0 of each of the 7 tracks. To set up for the first age, place the age tracker on space 1 of the age track. Draw 2 prosperity cards for each player and place them at the top of the board. Draw 2 wonders for the current age and place them in the wonder slot at the right side of the board, along with 2 wonders from the next age. Place 2 buildings per player in the building spaces on the right side of the board. Shuffle the tech cards and draw the top 2 tech cards. Shuffle these with the blank tech cards and place the 4 cards in a column next to the drafting spaces on the left side of the board. Place the other 12 tech cards to make a 4x4 grid next to the drafting spaces. Select a first player and give that player their turn order card, which shows their starting resources. The first player gains the first player token and 10 gold. The second player gains the architect token and 12 gold. Let's take a look at the board and the cards. The board has 7 tracks: prosperity, income, influence, politics, war, population, and culture. There are also additional actions that you can take, such as the research action, but we'll look at those later. Each tech card has a symbol and indicates which ages the card will be used in. For example, the law card has the social sciences symbol and shows that it will be used in ages 1 and 2 and then become obsolete. Green and brown building cards also indicate which ages the building will be used in. For example, the ziggurat will be used in ages 1, 2, and 3 and will then go to sleep. Millennia Tracks of Time is played over 8 ages, with each age having 7 phases. These are marked on the board under the age track. Phase A is the drafting phase. During this phase, starting with the first player, each player will place a drafting marker on a drafting space and take a card from that row. 4 of the cards give special bonuses when selected. The army card will give that player the first player token, and they will draft first in the next round. The next players around the table clockwise will receive 0, 2, or 4 gold as shown on the first player token. The engineering card will give the player the architect token, and they will now construct first in the construction phase. The energy card contains a blue unlock, which we will discuss in the income phase. And the communication card gives you a bonus of 3 gold when you achieve prosperity. You may choose to place your drafting marker on a special action space as well, and we will look at those during the action phase. Phase B is the prosperity phase. If a player has both icons shown in a pair of prosperity cards, they have achieved prosperity and will move up 1 space on the track. Note that even if you match more than 1 pair of prosperity cards, you can only achieve prosperity once per age. In our example, player 1 has the weaponry and agriculture cards, and will therefore move up 1 space on the track. As you move up the tracks, you will gain the bonus on a space, although spaces with an hourglass are used for endgame scoring. Remember that if you have the communication tech card in your tableau, you will gain a bonus of 3 gold during the prosperity phase. Phase C is the income phase, where players earn gold based on their drafting position and progress on the income track. Note that there is a blue lock icon on the 5 gold income, so you only earn the income if you have a blue unlock symbol. This symbol is found on your starting resources card, but flipped over after the first age. After that, you can only earn the blue unlock card from a card in your tableau, such as the energy tech card. In our example, player 1 would get 11 gold, and player 2 would get 9 gold. Phase D is the construction phase. Here, all players will have an opportunity to purchase wonders or buildings. Wonders in yellow buildings give endgame scoring bonuses. For example, the Great Pyramid will give victory points equal to 2 times your position on the politics track at the end of the game. Green and brown buildings give you special abilities, but only during the ages indicated on the cards. After that, remember that they go to sleep during the upkeep phase. The cost for a building or wonder is shown in the upper left corner. Remember that the architect token gives a 3 gold discount on 1 building each age, but not wonders. Purchasing buildings and wonders starts with the player with the architect token and moves clockwise, with each player able to build 1 building or wonder, or pass. This continues until all players have passed. Phase E is the action phase, and this is where the majority of the game is played. The action phase is taken simultaneously by all players, but on your first play you may decide to take turns starting with the first player so that everyone has a chance to see what the other players are doing. This will add time to the game duration, however. In the action phase, you will spend your symbols by exhausting your tech cards and buildings to move up the tracks. To move up the income track, you need to spend 1 economics and either 1 energy or 1 transportation. As you move up the income track, you will earn additional income that you will receive during future income phases. Alternatively, you can take 6 coins. Remember to gain the bonuses from any book tokens you reach. Notice that to reach the 7th space on the income track, you need a yellow unlock symbol, which you will get from reaching space 4 on the prosperity track. To move up the influence track, spend 1 economics and then 3 from among government, natural science, arts, and agriculture. You will also gain 3 victory points and 3 gold. As you move up the influence track, you will receive discounts on buying wonders during the construction phase. To move up the politics track, spend 1 government and 1 social science. Once you reach step 5 on the politics track, you will choose whether you are moving up the democracy track or the lower tyranny track. Each has different bonuses and scores associated with it. If you cannot move up any further, you receive the bonus to the right of the track. For example, a diplomacy card. To move up the war track 1 space, you can spend 1 army, 1 weaponry, or 1 military. If you spend 1 weaponry and 1 military, you will move up 3 spaces. Notice the red lock icon before space 7. This is unlocked by reaching step 5 of the population track. Again, if you cannot move up further, receive the bonus to the right of the track. To move up the population track, spend 1 medicine and 1 agriculture. And again, receive the bonus to the right of the track. In this case, 1 victory point for every 2 buildings you have, including sleeping buildings. The culture track works the same way. Spend 1 arts and 1 social science to move up 1 space. And receive 2 victory points per wonder if you cannot move further up the track. Instead of drafting cards, remember that you could have placed drafting markers on the special action spaces. These will move you up one of the tracks, gain you research points, or a joker tech to use for this turn. There are also 4 additional actions you can take on your turn. The diplomacy action costs 1 communication and 1 energy. You will then draw 2 diplomacy cards and keep 1. Diplomacy cards are one-time use cards. They can always be traded for 3 coins or 3 victory points. This card, for example, lets you move up on the politics track and gain 2 coins. The research action is a little bit more complicated. First, you can spend 1 medicine, 1 engineering, or 1 transportation to gain 1 research point. You can spend a natural science for 2 research points, or you can spend 1 medicine, 1 engineering, and 1 transportation to gain 6 research points. Research points must be spent in the current round on 1 of the research actions. For example, player 2 has a 3 research point card, a natural science card worth 2 research points, and a transportation card worth 1 research point, for a total of 6 research points. They can take the 6 research point action and either move up 3 on the war track and gain 6 victory points, or they can claim a research card by placing one of their research tokens on it. For example, this one will give you 2 coins when you perform a research action on a future turn. The last 3 actions are the espionage action, where you can spend 7 coins for a joker tech, the academics action, where you can spend any 2 tech symbols to gain a joker tech, and the industry action to spend any tech symbol to gain 2 coins. When you move up the tracks, remember that you get the bonus immediately before moving on to the next action. so be careful in the order that you perform your actions. Phase F is the war phase. Here you will look at where each player is positioned on the war track. Move the lowest player back to the 0 space, and then move every other player back the same number of spaces along the track. For example, here the lowest player moved back 1 space, so each other player moves back 1 space as well. In Age 8, you will not perform the war phase, so your track markers will remain where they are at the end of the action phase for scoring. Phase G is the upkeep phase. All outdated buildings will be placed on the sleep cards. Outdated techs will be discarded. Unbuilt buildings and wonders will be discarded as well as undrafted tech cards. Refresh your prosperity cards, wonder cards, and building cards. Move the 2 blank tech cards each down 1 space, or back up to the top for 1 at the bottom, and then refresh the tech cards by filling in the 4x4 grid from top to bottom, left to right, with the next Age's tech cards. Flip the Architect token and move the Age tracker 1 space forward. Retrieve your draft markers, and now you're ready for the next Age. The game continues until you complete Age 8. Remember to skip the war phase in Age 8. It's now time for final scoring. First, look at the prosperity, population, and culture tracks. Gain the victory points equal to the last endgame space you reached on each track. Multiply your position on the influence track and politics track and gain victory points equal to the total. Then double your position on the war track and gain victory points. Gain victory points based on your wonders and yellow buildings. Each unused diplomacy card is worth 3 victory points as well. The player with the highest victory point total built the greatest civilization and wins the game. In case of a tie, the player with the highest starting player card from round 1 is the winner. And that's Millennia Tracks of Time. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a note in the comments section below and tell me what other games you'd like me to explain. Have fun playing!